Hello, everyone.
Hello.
It may be a couple of minutes.
Yeah.
Hello.
Hello.
Hey there.
So who's online? Most of us, I see. Nice. Should we wait for someone else, you think, or should we get started? I think it's safe to start, right?
We could get started.
Great.
Sounds good.
Okay, so let's go. Maybe I should share my screen by the way. If I find the controls. There we go. So I shortened this page quite a lot since last time. I'll come back to that. I've archived the old things, or started to at least. Okay. Action items. First one is for you, Andrea, on the domain.
Yeah, so we have cdevents.dev, which is available for us. The question is, do we need or want to have events.cd as well? And there is an example from Screwdriver that they use this domain. And I asked Chris, basically said that the .dev domain are easy to get, and in fact we get one already, but he wasn't sure whether the domain provider that they use at the Linux Foundation would manage the .cd domain. Just wanted to ask any thoughts if you want to insist on this events.cd or if the events.dev as it's fine.
I think it's fine to me. Was it so then that the screwdriver.cd was ordered before they were into the Linux Foundation, or? Yeah,
I think so.
Okay. Of course, I would have preferred, I guess, events.cd, but if it's a big struggle to get that, I think we can live with cdevents.dev.
Yeah, I agree as well. If it's gonna be too much of a lift to get the events.cd, we just stick with the cd events.dev.
Yeah. Okay. So just to be absolutely clear, the only implication is that we will have to rename the event types from events.cd to dev.cd events dot blah blah blah, so that the event type match a domain name that we own. Since it's draft, we don't have a release yet. I don't think that will be a problem, but just wanted to.
No, I think that should work. That should be easy to do.
Yeah,
Okay.
That's simple enough.
Yeah,
of course, it also means that we will not be able to change it very easily afterwards when we have the final, or the version 1.0 whatever released out there. That's maybe a bigger problem. If you want to change domains later, that's will not be easy.
Yeah.
For me, the main important thing which the Cloud Event spec also hints at is that if they see a message and see a type, they can find us, and they can do that if it says dev.cd events, because they can reverse it and find us. So then whether, as you said, Emil, it would be slightly more perfect if we have cd.events, but it's really not that important to me.
Hey. So I guess maybe we'll come back to that on the website discussion, but I guess we've already seen that we have this actually written now, and it's Andreas just recently published a start version of that page here. We have it. Yay!
Perfect.
Good job, Andrea. There. So I consider this section closed.
Sounds good.
Yep.
We'll
The
just
next
close
one
it.
is for TweetDeck also for you, Andrea.
Yeah, just very quickly have a look at TweetDeck. It basically allows you to create a team of people that can impersonate the account without need for password sharing. So it's I created the team, I think. I'm not sure what the exact name is. But yeah, my proposal would be for folks in the CD event governance to be added as long as they have a Twitter account and they're okay with it, so that it's not just me and single point of failure. But yeah, so I would say if you're in the governance team and if you're happy to manage these accounts as well, just send me your Twitter handle and I'll let you.
And we should probably make sure that somebody from the Linux Foundation or the CDF has access as well.
Probably me.
I guess.
Probably you, Kira.
Yeah. Which is great. I'm happy with that. It's fine.
Sure, makes sense.
As I said to Andrea offline, I'm a very infrequent tweeter, so I don't really feel comfortable administrating that account too much myself. I could of course be there, but you wouldn't expect to get any or not much action from me on that account, I'm afraid. That's one of the things I haven't started with yet.
I'm in the same boat as you.
One of the things that may start to happen, which would be great, is if we started getting more questions from the community, and that might happen through Twitter. So that might be a very good role to play, even if you're not, going to do regular tweeting from the account, if that's not where your comfort zone is, but just keeping an eye on the DMs and questions that come into that account.
So speaking about questions, should we then consider Twitter a forum where people could post questions and we are expected to answer there, or should we somehow internally handle those questions through some screening somehow else, or should we expect everyone to be on Twitter then to read those?
I would expect it. I mean, you can try and funnel communication, please join our Slack. That's where we like to answer our questions, whatever you would like to do. But I would expect questions come up on Twitter. It's a very informal way of communication. People just say things and ask things all the time.
So I guess that the people will admin the Twitter account and will more or less be aware of who is there and answering for us. And if needed to involve more people from the community or from the SIG or whatever, then of course,
yeah,
to reach us.
Yeah, and what I've seen in the past with TweetDeck is that you can follow along hashtags in the TweetDeck dashboard. So if someone hashtags CD events, then that's an easy way to keep track of what people are saying. You can also follow the ad, like whatever. It's just a very easy way to keep track of the general conversation on Twitter, so that you're on top of it and can respond quickly to questions.
Good. Okay, fair enough. So, is there anything else to state on TweetDeck then, or are we done there?
Just a reminder, please send me your Twitter account, so I can invite you to the team.
Yeah. Hey, so roadmap discussion. Andrea, I know that you have prepared this, and unfortunately I haven't too much worked on it myself. Andrea, what do you think the status of this is now? Would you like to merge it soon, or?
I think so. If you don't mind, maybe just showing it's not very much content, so I can just go through it very quickly, and if
Sure.
unless there is any concern, maybe we can merge it. Okay, so is this? Also, this is the primary document.
No, sorry.
Okay. So,
we should go to the roadmap document, of course. Yeah.
Right. So this list of things. So on the roadmap, I added capture key use cases and decisions in the SIG Events primer document. Develop the spec to fully support our key use cases. Validate and demonstrate the spec for proof of concept. Specify and rework Cloud Events binding. So recreate the SDK for the Go language. And as Eric requested, also create the SDK for the Python language. Evolve the project bootstrap governance into full governance, and also grow the SIG Events community of projects and contributors, which maybe is a bit vague, but I think it just gives clarifies what is the direction or one of the areas of focus that we should have. Does this look like anything missing, obvious missing, or I mean, it doesn't have to be final anyways, but if this looks generally okay, I would say we could merge it, and then we could have incrementally to it if we need to.
It definitely looks good as a standalone pull request. For me, one of the topics it doesn't answer is 1.0 release of the specification. So basically, what is the scope for this release when it basically becomes a standard?
Yeah, that's what I was going to comment on bullet number 2, develop the spec to fully support our key cases. I don't know if we want to label that as our first spec release at that point, or if we want to mark it as a draft spec release or something.
Yes, we could. That's a good point. I also set up a project in GitHub that you kind of allows define what do we mean by 0.1 version. So we could include that at least the initial 0.1 version in the roadmap.
That works.
It would be nice.
I'm not sure about the 1.0, Oleg.
Well, 1.0 is just what I mean is version when we say that it's something we expect others to start adopting, not a version that is draft.
I think it can still be with 0.1 maybe, even though people start working on it. But of course, if it's 0.1 and then not 1.0, then it could still change incompatibility.
Yeah.
Well, in this case, we could apply kind of semantic versioning if we agree on that. I mean, if we just extend the specification at the new events, etc., it can be 1.1, 1.2. if we reconsider previous events and make them incompatible, then it could be 2.0.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. We should probably add a kind of document or note somewhere about what the policy is for versioning. But yeah.
But I guess now on the start, it would be good to go for 0.1 until we have something up that is we feel is stable before we release a 1.0. To also kind of like show people that we're not 100% sure that this will actually be stable now in the beginning when we're developing it.
But if we have 0.1, it's at least possible to trace what version has been used in other tools and who is using what and so on. So we should have a certain thing there. Yeah.
Plus 1.0 is good for adopters because many of them will wait for 1.0 to be finalized. So yeah, there are stakeholders here who are interested to adopt it as soon as possible and iterate with the specification. But many other vendors will consider the specification on the one it's declared to be stable. And yeah, I think that 1.0 would be a good milestone for that. So clearly, it's not going to happen in the next few months, but yeah, eventually it would be nice to at least have this milestone.
Right. So
Okay,
I will definitely add. Oh, sorry.
I
was just going to say that I will definitely add then a release 0.1 into the roadmap. And yeah, so I will add it, and I can ping on Slack once it's done. Or is that okay? Should I just add it and then we merge the PR?
That's fine to me. Should we, by the way, have a milestone on 1.0? I'm a bit afraid to put it this year, say that we will have it this year, but of course you could aim at having it this year. Anyway, it depends, of course, on how much time people spend on this and how intense the development will be. So.
Looking at the progress from history, I would also be kind of skeptical for putting it this year, unfortunately.
Yeah, but of course it's good to have some kind of carrot to work towards, right?
Yeah.
Just try that.
I guess what we could try at least to do is to define what we think we need to say we are 1.0. I mean, do we need to have, I don't know, certain number of projects that have adopted? Do we need to have certain amount of feedback in certain form? So what do we expect to have in place before we can feel ready to go to 1.0? So we could at least try to identify that.
Should that be part of the 0.1 project, or should it be something that we do on the side, preparing for 1.0, and we should have that done by this year then? That list of lacking things.
Yeah, I think it would be not necessarily part of 0.1, but we can have it as something that we work on this year. Yeah.
Oleg, are you fine with that, or would you like to phrase it in some other way?
Yeah, it's fine with me.
Oh, okay. Okay. Not too much there. Okay. So Andre, will you add both these things then to the roadmap and then merge it, or?
Yeah.
In some way. Yeah. Sounds good. Okay, governance docs. Andre again.
Yeah. So there are a couple of things that we. Oh no, sorry. I was just thinking of something else. So about the we discussed in the past adding the governance doc to the GitHub repo. And I checked. I had a PRA for that, but in fact, it turns out that only certain files can be added to the .github and then be seen in all repos. So my preference would be to have then the governance .md in the spec repo, because I think if it's only in the .github repo, it won't be very discoverable.
Right. Okay.
I can agree with that.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay. Online meetup. Oleg, you have anything there?
Well, basically ready when you are. So once we are ready to announce it, let's do it. I believe it should happen after there is announcement on the CTF website once the initial marketing starts. But once it does, let's just set the data and I'm ready to host it.
What is the timeline you all would prefer for the sort of push from the CDF? What do you all
I would
envision?
definitely prefer it to happen before May so that it doesn't overlap with KubeCon.
Okay, because someone did say to me, oh, well, KubeCon could be part of that, especially because it's sounding likely we'll have a half-day event. But that could be a follow-on event from the initial.
Yeah, well, could be KubeCon too.
Does that sound about right to everyone else?
Yeah, that works. That makes sense.
Makes sense.
That's good.
Mm-hmm.
So to be announced during KubeCon, then did I get that right?
Kind of. I mean, we'll do a push
Yeah,
before, and then we'll also have this half day at KubeCon, hopefully, almost guaranteed. Thank you, Andrea. And yeah, so that'll be nice. That'll be a nice movement.
There is not that much time between KubeCon and CityCon. It's just 2 or 3 weeks,
Yep.
right?
Yeah.
So I'm not sure whether we will be able to do a meetup in this time frame. Well, I think we could, but yeah.
What do you mean a meetup, an online one, or at both conferences, or what sort of meetup did you have in mind?
Well, we discussed basically having a CDF webinar to talk specifically about this topic. But yeah, so if we do something between KubeCon and CityCon, it's perfectly possible, but I think it will be basically duplicating what we do at CityCon then.
Okay, well, all these things are on the table as possibilities. So it's really just a matter of what the timing that works for you all, what you all feel would be best. You can be involved. I realize in-person events aren't obvious still. So it's really, it's just as you like.
Personally, I would announce it maybe in March or so. So before even KubeCon, but yeah. I'm not the key contributor to this project, so It's
Right.
not for me to decide about the date.
Right. And part of that is, do you want some of these SDKs really done? How many do you want? You know, it's just where do you want the project to be when we start, you know, making noise about it aggressively, publicly?
Good questions. I think it also relates to the discussion we had last time on having a in-person meetup together with KubeCon or next to KubeCon, right?
Yep. Right.
And if we should have these two very close to each other, it doesn't maybe make too much sense either. I'm not sure.
Which two? The KubeCon meetup and the CDCon event?
No, I mean this meetup online of
Right.
SIG Events together
Right.
with the KubeCon meetup or extra
Right.
KubeCon
Right.
meetup.
Right.
So the reality that many people won't be able to go to KubeCon or CDCon this year.
Sure.
So, well, in principle, online events still make sense. The problem is with capacity because before CDCon, the CDF will be heads down preparing to CDCon. Everyone else will be just recovering after KubeCon, I guess, from those who go there. So yeah, this period seems to be not very viable as a time slot for event.
Right. So are we now leaning towards not having an online meetup during the spring, or should we have it very soon instead of, even though we haven't really announced things?
Maybe we could do a sneak peek before the project is announced. If it helps to facilitate some feedback, why not?
I think it needs to help, as you say as well. I mean, it shouldn't be another thing that we also need to do, which will decrease our focus on the actual launch and preparing for KubeCon, whatever.
So as long as it's useful, we can do that. If it's not useful, then whatever.
I don't have any clear ideas exactly what such a meetup should look like, schedule-wise or effort-wise either.
So basically, it would be more or less repetition of your FOSDEM talk plus some extended discussion with potential adopters. So we could reach out to a few CI/CD vendors who do not participate in SIG to have them at the table during this presentation and for afterwards the discussion. But yeah, this is how I would see that. So I definitely don't see something completely new happening this webinar.
It could maybe make sense if we could announce it already during FOSDEM and say that we will meet in whatever 2, 3, 4 weeks and talk about this if you want to join. But I guess we will not be able to prepare just now until Sunday, right? And set something up.
If we could agree on the date, I think we can schedule it. The question is, how do we do the platform? Because Baby is not ready, but yeah, it's a separate story.
CDF website, whatever.
Does it make sense to just have an extra Zoom meeting directed towards any FOSDEM user or developer who will come and say that we will have a meeting just for you or something?
Well, I'm not sure about Zoom. It doesn't really matter. What we need is an RSVP page. So the page when they can reply to the event and get notification when the link is live.
Okay.
And it can be anything, meetup.com page, Bevy page, even Google form. So if you want to do that, it's technical implementation and I can help you with that.
So what do the rest of you say? Is there anyone interested in what is sharing one of these meetups then, or taking active part in it? Or don't we feel we have bandwidth for it now?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I'd be happy to participate in meetup. I'm not sure if enough time to organize until Friday, but Oleg can help with or someone else can help with the organization, setting things up, I'm happy to join.
Yeah, I'm also very happy to join some
Okay,
hours.
so we need someone to organize.
Exactly.
Okay, this part I can take.
So do we
So
talk
I will
about like
create,
the 2 hours meetup or a full day meetup, or how many?
I think 2 hours max, maybe even 90 minutes. So basically a FOSDEM presentation plus extended discussion, Q&A.
Makes sense.
That makes sense.
So I will create a doodle then. So 2 weeks, yeah, approximately 2-3 weeks after FOSDEM, right?
Should we aim at the European friendly time or a US friendly time or some kind of in between, like this time?
I think whatever works for speakers. So if you want to have Steve on the call, I guess it should be someone in the US time zone, something like 4 or 5 p.m. UTC, maybe 3 p.m. UTC, but no earlier. But otherwise, as you prefer.
This started at 4 p.m., right? This meeting right now.
Yes.
If we should 2 hours, maybe it would be better, to me at least, if we could start 1 hour earlier, if that's okay with Steve. But maybe that's very early.
That's fine. And I think like you're saying 90 minutes instead of 2 hours. I think 2 hours would be too long.
So an hour and a half starting at 3 or 4 UTC then, depending on when people are available.
Yeah, I'm creating a doodle poll right now so that we can choose a date. So we'll share link in a few minutes.
Okay.
Okay, let's go on. So we don't lose too much time here.
Sorry, just quick question. How interested are you all in having some sort of contributor summit at CDCon? Because we have space. Just need to start sort of booking out, organizing it, scheduling it.
Silly question. What is a contributor summit?
I was about to ask the same thing. What is it really?
It's when the project community comes together, and it can be handled in different ways by different projects. So it can be quite an intense working group. It can be sort of more of an outreach talk sessions. It's really as the project itself wants to run it. But basically you're given, from my what I have to do with you, I have to schedule you a room and find out how large that room needs to be. And then, I mean, I will help organizing it as well, but by and large, I can hand it off to the project leads and the project's community. So you basically have an open space to use as you like.
Are we talking physical space or virtual space? Or both?
Physical, but I mean, if you want to add on some Zoom rooms and have some sort of, I don't know, link big screen, you can. We can try and arrange that as well with the venue.
Yeah, because I most probably won't be there in person on CDCon.
That's very sad.
Yeah, and I won't be there in person either.
So it would need to be virtual for many of us at least then. Or
okay.
Several days.
Right.
Then I'm not sure how much it makes sense to have a full day or something of several hours workshop with the group. I mean, what does it help really to have it with CDCon, planned by CDCon. Of course, if many people are on site physically, then of course it makes sense to get it organized by the CDCon people.
Right, right. And I mean, it's CDCon is being co-located with JS World this year. So we actually have about 1,600 tickets of attendees. So it could be, and it is like one ticket gets you both conferences. So the amount of scope and outreach could be quite large. And you never know who there would be interested and would become really involved in a project. So it's kind of worth doing if it's interesting to you all.
It would be interesting to me. I mean, if most of us would be there, I think it would be more valuable for us as a team to, you know, get hands-on on things. But
okay, well, great.
We don't really have contributors for now. At least that's how the small group here, but we might have in future. So yeah.
Well, for us, one of the reasons is not finding contributors per se, but finding vendors who are interested to adopt it. Maybe CDCon could be a good venue for that. So basically bringing some of these vendors at the table and having a discussion with them to see whether they would be able to, would be willing to implement the standard.
Yeah.
That sounds good.
Yeah, sure.
A great opportunity for feedback. Okay, well, I'll sort of put it in the draft schedule. I just wanted you all to know this was a very real possibility and it's something we would be really excited about.
Sounds good. Makes sense. Thanks. Okay, so now move on then to the public relations document. I, Andrea, should take lead on this. I haven't come very far myself, unfortunately, with use cases or quotes, right? I mean, no, unfortunately. So I know Andrea and Matthias have been quite active in commenting on this. Any statement on its quality or completeness? Andrea or Matthias?
Yeah, I think we put a few comments, myself and Matthias. It'd be good to get some feedback on those. But I think the most challenging section might be the quotes from companies. So yeah, we do have one. I'm trying to get one either from IBM or Reddit or both. But yeah.
I'm also working on one.
Good. How is it, Eric? Will you provide one from Dubai, you think, or?
Sure. I'm thinking in my head if I can provide one from Volvo Cars, but I'm not sure I'm involved enough to do that. But I will definitely provide something at least.
Perfect. Should we add that as temporary? So Matthias, you're allowed to do, you agreed to do it for Ericsson's perspective, right?
Mm-hmm.
And or Volvo Cars.
I do have one question on this. Maybe Kara, you know, is there any specific requirements on the role of the person providing the quote? Does it have to be anyone, I don't know, management, VP level, or can it be anyone?
I mean, you know, theoretically it really could be anyone. They do need to have permission. So sometimes some companies can be a little bit funny, being like, well, we didn't approve that. It just, whoever it is needs to ensure that this is acceptable to the company and needs to pass whatever gating they have in place for that sort of thing. And then of course, you know, I mean, it's very nice if we have Yeah, Tracy Reagan, CEO. That sounds lovely. You know, so it really is. But I mean, it's for anyone. Developers, it's a great, you know, end users. It's whoever would like to give a quote at this point would be.
If you want, I can ask from Fidelity point of view. Work with Joe, Jer on that. Like, yeah.
That would be wonderful, Jamie. Thank you.
Great, Jamie. Thank you.
So for sure, Matthias, you won't get this from the CEO in Ericsson, or but maybe from someone, maybe from yourself or from someone else a bit higher up. Let's see what we can manage.
I will say.
Yeah, perfect. Great. Anything else to mention on the PR document?
Emil, you forgot Andrea.
That's in the comments as well. Sorry, Matthias.
Andrea also will provide.
Oh yeah, sorry, of course. Is that from IBM then, Andrea, or?
Yeah, I'll
What the intent?
I'm working with that. Yeah.
It will not be from the CEO, I guess, of IBM either. It's from you, Marcus. Great, thanks, Matthias. So everyone, please help out in reviewing the document and add your comments, whatever.
Yeah, I'll probably get Dan and Trace to share something too.
Should I add that as well then? Nice.
To the bottom.
Yes. Oh. Let's move on. A small action to archive the minutes of meetings from 2021. I'm working on it. There's a pull request for it. You can look at it later on if you like. I've renamed some documents in the GitHub repository for SIG Events. And when this is merged, I was intend, of course, to update the links between HackMD and the GitHub repository, so we get those in place correctly. Not much to mention there, I think. So up to some other groups. Nothing reported as input here. Oleg, is there anything from talk? No?
Yeah, I don't think there is anything relevant. One thing that we, sorry.
No.
One thing that we briefly discussed in December is about allocating the budget we received from the governing board for TUC. So basically we have 10K for 2022 we could spend. And among the ideas we had investing in CD events, maybe documentation or whatever other components that would be shared between all the projects. So I think I will bring it up for voting, but okay, yeah, and Schwag, Andrea. Yeah, I think that we could move with this topic. If we have any concrete project ideas, we would be willing to offload. So let's say 10K budget is easily something like 3 months internship or more. So yeah, if we want to do that, we need ideas and we need potential mentors / just supervisors for this project.
I can't really think of what it could be in our case right now. But,
yeah,
help is always needed, but we need, as you said, there needs to be a mentor for it, and we need to have a well-defined task.
Yeah, that's the problem. So it could be documentation, it could be whatever. Well, community marketing is just too wide area, but probably why not? I guess Roxanne and Kara would appreciate contributions on this front too. Well, technically it could be engineering work too. But yeah, then how to find the engineering work that is not tied to particular project? Maybe one of the reference implementations or libraries.
Could it be like work on SDK?
Sorry.
Why
SDK
not?
work, yeah. And I believe we could use some help from designing the web page maybe later on when we have some more ideas on actually what we want to put in there.
Or the other thing would be once we get the Golang SDK firmed up, that we bring somebody in to do the Python version based on the Go one.
Eric will do that, right?
He'll do it tonight.
No.
Oh, yeah.
No, I will definitely help make sure it happens. But if anyone does it before I can do it, then of course that would work as well.
Maybe Eric could mentor such a person then.
Yeah,
such
that would be fine.
Mm-hmm. So is this a real idea then that we should go forward with? Try to find someone who is willing to, I mean, some Python person. We need to have the spec still in some shape before we start this, right?
I think
wouldn't.
it's good, Eric.
Yeah, I was going to say I wouldn't say that this is the best use we can make of that budget. It's something that we could do, but I think realistically, I think it would be more useful if both the Go SDK and the Python SDK sort of evolve together with the spec, so we can test things out. That's how I would see it, and then it wouldn't be a time-limited work. It would be slower but longer, so to say.
Yeah. I agree.
I would say we hold off on this and get some more, our feet underneath us a little more with the project.
Yeah.
Also, maybe just documenting SDKs, because even if you have Golang SDK, I guess there is a lot of opportunities for improving docs there, or not?
In terms of hiring someone for helping to polish up our docs, I have no idea if she's interested or has the bandwidth, but Roxanne, who works with the CDF, is an amazing writer and editor, and she's really efficient, and she's contracting with the CDF. So just wondering if we could contract her to do this as well. And I don't even know if she has bandwidth, but I'm floating the idea because if you all are all interested, I could ask her.
Mm-hmm. I think that's more or less the same thing there. We don't really know what to document. So it's not really a good task prepared to I mean, take this and document it. It's not really there yet, I'm afraid.
Fair enough, fair enough. Okay, just suggesting it. I will hold off.
Mm-hmm. Yes, it's good.
One thing that I never know how valuable it really is, but if we need like a 30-second or 1-minute video just describing what SIG Events is all about in a very catchy manner, then I don't know that we could do that ourselves in this group. We can provide the information, but someone with proper video editing experience would need to put it together, I think. So that could be one other thing. But again, I have no idea what the actual value is of such a video. It's cool to look at, but does it actually give any value?
In terms of that, I can also look at what sort of budget the CDF has with the LF design team. They have done little really nicely done sort of marketing clips in the past for us. So I can look into how that process all works, what our budget is, how much flexibility we have with it, because I would think that supporting a new project would be pretty high on the priorities for the CDF.
Yeah, I like that idea because I think it'll help us get the word out.
Yeah, certainly a good idea.
Great.
Again, it would need our involvement somehow.
At least to provide the information and to do the reviewing and feedback. But
Yeah.
that sounds fun to me. So.
So should we take that idea one step further then, somehow?
I can look into what is possible on the CDF side, what support we can
Great.
give.
Perfect. So let's not stay on that bullet anymore then. From SIG and Trop, I'm trying to remember from last week what was. Oh, I wasn't there. Or was it the meeting last week? Or was it the week before?
The week before. The main thing that is happening is Fatty, who has been such an amazing co-chair, is stepping down. So we're actually looking for another chair. And that process of opening up to volunteers, maybe leading to an election lightweight process, is happening right now. So if you are at all interested in sharing the interoperability SIG, please do reach out. I think anyone on this call would be amazing.
And then also that these pipeline steps and pipeline stages document was reviewed there or discussed. Which affects us quite a lot, or could affect us a bit actually. So maybe we should notice it anyway. Because it will most certainly affect us. So we shouldn't just forget about that. I think we should be involved there as well somehow.
Yes.
So if you haven't seen it, you can go there. Yeah, Kara?
No, that is very good. Please provide feedback and keep an eye on it. You're welcome to join the interoperability SIG meetings.
Yes. Good. So that means the end of that update from other groups. I guess SIG best practices. Any news there? I don't think there is any. Or someone to share anything? No. Okay. SIG event project setup. We have only 7 minutes left, and we have a big task ahead of us there. I'm just curious to see what we have left in the agenda, so we don't forget the most important parts.
If I could have 30 seconds just to bring up the poll that we want to send out with FOSDEM, or
Sure.
the questionnaire. So I'm going to go ahead and steal the screen sharing for a second. Let's see. Oh, apparently I need you to stop sharing first, Emil.
Oh, sorry.
Yes, so as we discussed earlier, the idea is to send out, to give participants a form that they can use to contact us or give us more information. So I just did a very quick draft of what we could have in this form, and would just like to get some initial feedback. So this is based on ideas from Steve mainly, I think. So there are 5 questions in here. First, trying to get more information about what combination of CI/CD platforms people are using, or if they're only using one. I have just listed a bunch of open source ones here. There are obviously way more platforms than this, but I don't think it would be helpful to list everyone. So there is an other thing here, but that would give us some more ideas on what people are connecting together, so to say. Second would be to figure out what the pain points are. So is it about not being able to connect things together, or is it about developing glue code or not understanding what is happening, etc.? So a bunch of different ideas here. Third is open open box for them to give us ideas and what they would like to see from us, like proof of concepts or integrations in tools. And then some for media, like can we get in touch with you to ask more questions or discuss more? How do we get in touch? Those are the main things. So this would be quite a short form is the hope, not too many ideas or not too many free form things, so to say. Would this give any value? I can share this in more so you can read it on your own time, but is this like at least partly on track, or should we think in a completely different way?
I think that's a good start. The one thing I would add would be, and I don't know if it's possible in Google Forms, but for them to upload either a diagram or like a Word doc of their CI/CD process.
Yeah, we can look into that.
Because a lot of companies have like these things written down for the developers and everybody to kind of understand. If they can share that, that'd be give us a really in-depth look at what they got going on.
I guess we might need to sorry, yeah.
Maybe provide a link to something that they have published on the internet.
Yes, good point. I will. Yeah, sorry. Go ahead.
And as part of that, they can scrub the company name. We're not interested in the what a company, if it was like Wells Fargo is doing X, they can scrub the company name out of it. We just want the more details if they can share that. Does that make sense?
Yeah, makes sense. Yeah, so what I will do is I will put this somewhere and share it in Slack so we can look at it further. I don't want to take up more time now. I already took way more than my 30 seconds. So I will stop sharing. How to do that? Not there, I guess. How do I stop sharing?
Speaking of end user CI/CD pipelines, Jamie Flower from Fidelity is very happy to speak more about what they are doing at Fidelity with their use of events, cloud events, I think. But we're nearly at time for this meeting. So do we want to slot that into a future meeting?
Absolutely.
Yeah, more than happy to. I know we spoke in December. Apologies, I couldn't make last week, but more than happy to take a few minutes to talk through what we're doing and how I'm trying to get more involved in this session. So yeah, happy to do that, Cara.
Great, thank you. So really, the best way to schedule it, I guess, so that we all know when this will be, is actually just to put it in the HackMD docs. So it's pretty informal. You can, like for the next meeting or even the one after, you can just put in the date and say, this would be, really good time, really good day for me to come in and speak to you for a little bit about what we're doing.
No, next one's fine if that works, but obviously don't want to, based on the priorities we're discussing here, happy to go.
We can try to fit in next time.
Awesome.
Andrea, will you add it to the next meetings?
Yeah, absolutely. Hey,
Yeah.
good, great.
So we are almost out of time. I guess you all know that we have a logo now. It's done, and we have the web page that Andrea published today. Any comments there, Andrea? You would like some more input, or?
What I might do, create some issues to track this, so they don't have to go through this right now. If you have a look at the staging version of the website, I added the docs in there. So just let me know offline what you think about it. Would be great. So it's basically, yeah, it's just.
Yeah, okay. Great.
That's it.
Good, thanks. We are part of the landscape. Yeah, the landscape we are part of, but we're also part of the menu now in CA Foundation.
Yes, both those things are up, and the landscape to increase the size of the card and to list it as incubating, that PR has been done. It just hasn't rolled out through Netlify, but it should do soon.
I saw it wasn't updated here, but I guess it will come in a second. Okay, what else should we do? The Bootstrap governance to-do list, we didn't come there.
We can take it to next time. There's no rush.
Yeah, and we can sync on Slack as well on this. Okay, sorry for the bit of a rushed meeting in the end here, but I think we had good discussions in the beginning or during the whole hour. Thank you all for all your participation, and it's good talking to you.
Yeah.
See you in 2 weeks in this forum.
All right, take care.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.